Hello and welcome to the Morning Reset with Tameeka Nelson. I am your spirit, soul, and business strategist. I'm so excited to be with you today as we continue our focus on alignment of spirit, alignment of soul, and alignment of business. And so last week, we began our journey talking about misalignment. And so today, we want to get into the subject of the alignment of spirit. And if you haven't already, please join us on our 21-day journey, our 21-day challenge. You don't have to start last week. You can start today. You can start whenever you want. But it is an alignment challenge. We are seeking to be aligned in spirit, in soul, and in business. And so I want you to just focus on one for this moment, one for this month, one area for you to be focused in alignment on for this month. So whether that be your spirit, whether that be your soul, whether that be your business. And if you need to know which one you need to focus on, go ahead and look back on our broadcast from last week where we talked about misalignment and how to identify what areas in your life need to be misaligned. You need to go back and listen to that first so that you can join the challenge of getting aligned in your spirit, in your soul, and in your business. So let's get started with this week. This week, we are talking about alignment in spirit, right? Alignment in spirit. So in order to go forward, we have to go back just for one moment. And I want us to go back to our definition of what alignment is. Alignment is the arrangement in a straight line or in correct or appropriate relative positions, a position of agreement or alliance. So when we talk about an alignment of spirit, we are talking about being in a position of agreement with the Spirit of God. Let's identify the spirit that we're talking about. We're talking about being in alignment with the Spirit of God. And so what does that look like, right? And I heard a demonstrate, or I saw a demonstration last week that was very palpable to what we're talking about today. And so the people that were interviewing were talking about a car wash and how when you go into a car wash, the person that is working at the car wash, they direct you, right, to align your wheels to the track that is in the car wash, because you don't want to go off track in the car wash. So many things can happen when you go off track, right? So you want to align your wheels so that when you get into alignment and you shift that gear into neutral, you are taken on a journey. You're taken into that flow. You are hands off. You are not driving. You are being driven, right? And so that is what our focus is when we talk about being aligned in spirit. We want to be able to take our hands off the wheel and completely let the Spirit of God guide us through this journey called life, right? And so how do we do that? How do we do that? And so I just had to, I wanted to share basically my personal experience with that, because I've had the experience of being in alignment and I've had the experience of being misaligned, right? And so one of the things that really has been pertinent to me in this phase of my life is to be in the will of God, right? And so when I was thinking about being aligned in spirit, the first thing that came to mind was like Jesus on the cross. And so that was not a place that he wanted to be. That was a place of suffering. That was a place of vulnerability. That was a place of exposure, right? It was so much happening at that time. And so I can only imagine the myriad of emotions that he went through during that time. And it's like, Father, are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? Are you seeing what they're doing to me, right? Are you seeing what's happening to me? Are you seeing the state that I am in, right? But he says something so key that I want to share with you today. Let me grab it. It is this: but no matter what, your will must be mine. Some versions say, nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done. And that is what alignment in spirit looks like. It's not always comfortable, right? It's not always easy, right? Um, it's not always happy. It's not always happy, right? But it is the course that we must go through in order to be aligned. I often get visuals, right, in my head. I'm a very visual person. So a couple of weeks ago, I got a visual of a doctor turning a breech baby, right? When the baby is misaligned, the doctor has to turn it to get in position. And so when the doctor is turning, it's uncomfortable to the mother. And for those watching, I don't know if you've ever watched that happen, but it looks really excruciating. You're like, oh my God, the doctor is doing too much. Oh my God, it's too much pressure. But he's doing exactly what the baby needs. He's giving the right amount of pressure to get the baby on track to come out for a safe delivery, right? And so what we want to make sure is that through the different turnings and pressure that we are feeling in life, that we allow God to turn us and position us into the correct position so that we are aligned with his spirit. And I said last week that alignment in spirit, out of the three things that we focus on, which is spirit, soul, and business, the most important thing is that you are aligned in your spirit, because that dictates everything else, right? So if you are feeling a turning in your spirit, if you are feeling uncomfortability, if you are feeling pressure, if you are feeling weight, if you are feeling like you have outgrown this space and you just need some shifting and some turning going on, guess what? That is what is happening. God is aligning you with his spirit, right? And so I even said last week that sometimes that the place that we were aligned before, and it's very easy to be like, we can be aligned, but then what happens when that place of alignment becomes a place of misalignment, right? And so you can drive a car, you can get a car aligned, like the tires aligned, but you can hit some bumps in the road that kind of cause your car to be misaligned. Well, that's what happens sometimes in life. Some certain places that were aligned before become misaligned, and I believe that this season is God realigning us to his will and to the correct position that he would have for us in his life. And so maybe you were going left, but at this season in your life, he wants you to go right. So now remember that breech baby, we're turning, and it's the pressure and it's the uncomfortableness that God is doing in this season to get you to that right position where he wants you to be. But no matter what, your will must be mine. It's not easy, but your will must be mine. It's not comfortable, but your will must be mine. Must be mine. I want more than anything your will before mine, because his will, first of all, is peace. I love peace. His will is peace. But also, his will can bring us to a place that we have never even thought, seen, or imagined for ourselves, right? And so we want to make sure that we are aligned with the spirit of God. We do not want to be out of place. We do not want to be out of sync. We don't want to be out of step. We want to be right in time with what God is doing and what God is saying for our life. We want to be aligned in spirit. And once you become aligned in spirit, it aligns everything else in your life, right? Your spirit is the command center. Your spirit is the command center. So once you get everything aligned in your spirit, you are able to command everything else in your life to come in alignment. Everything else to come in alignment. Until your spirit comes in alignment, you don't know what to speak, you don't know what to think, you don't know what to say, because your spirit has to be aligned. And when your spirit is not aligned, that's when you may say things that speak against what God says about you, right? That's when you may self-sabotage, right? That's when you may inadvertently speak word curses and not even realize it, when you are out of alignment. But when you are in alignment, you have to speak right? In alignment with what the Spirit of Christ has said about you. Anything outside of that is misaligned. Anything outside of that is out of the will of God. Saying anything to yourself that is not within the confines of Scripture is against the will of God. And so we want to make sure that our words are aligned. We want to make sure that our thoughts are aligned. We want to make sure that our ears are aligned. We want to make sure that our eyes are aligned to all that God is doing and saying in this season. We want to be aligned in spirit. Aligned in spirit. So if you find somewhere today where your spirit is misaligned, I want you to get on track. I want you to get on track. How do I get on track, Tameeka? Listen, for me, I will speak for myself. Getting back in alignment with God took intentional prayer. Sometimes intentional fasting, right? Intentional reading, intentional meditation. And notice I keep using the word intentional because we can always find excuses and we might call them reasons, but excuses for why we can't do what we're supposed to do. But when your spirit is of priority, you do what you need to do. And so when my spirit became priority, that's what I did. No church had to tell me that. No pastor had to tell me to do it. This was something that I did on my own to get myself back in alignment with the Spirit. Intentional spiritual practices, right? Prayer, meditation, worship, all of that can help you become back in alignment. Definitely reading the Bible, the Word of God, reading I don't want to say spiritual books, but you get what I'm saying. Reading material that will uplift your spirit. All of that will help you get back in alignment. All of it. But you have to know what works for you and what is being called, what God is calling for you in this season. But that it took all of that and then some for me. So I just wanted to encourage you this morning that before you do anything, get aligned in your spirit. Don't speak anything outside of what the Spirit says to speak about you, to speak about yourself. Because a lot of times we talk ourselves out of a lot of things because we're speaking against what the Spirit has already spoken, right? So if that is you today, I want you to get in some intentional prayer and some intentional consecration and getting yourself aligned to the Spirit. Again, if you want to use our digital tracker, which we call the alignment tracker, for 21 days, you pick a practice. And I use, for instance, prayer, right? If you want to use prayer as your way to get back in alignment, the tracker is for you to track yourself praying for 21 days. And you track what you feel at the beginning and you track what you feel at the end, and how that prayer time has made a significant difference for you, because it will. Prayer not only changes things, it changes you. So if you desire to get that tracker, you can go ahead and use that QR code there and get that downloaded and get your spirit in alignment, right? Get your spirit in alignment. When you get your spirit in alignment, I promise you, everything else just flows from there. Everything else just flows from there. Your spirit helps you to get your soul in alignment, which helps you to get your business in alignment, will help you get your family in alignment, will help you get your career in alignment. It all starts with your spirit. It all starts with your spirit. So download your alignment tracker today. It is free. Download it from our website. And I don't care when you start, just start tracking 21 days. 21 days of getting in alignment. Okay? So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I pray that you got something out of what I said, and that you will make the commitment, the intentional commitment to align your spirit. It's been 15 minutes. This is your 15-minute reset for your spirit, soul, and business. Have a blessed day.